Pack your things and get out of my house." Mrs. Yuna Han's voice sliced through the marble halls like broken glass. Her heels clicked furiously as she stormed into the kitchen, her diamond earrings trembling with each step. The maids froze, pots clattered, and there stood Amara, her hands still wet from washing dishes, eyes wide, chest rising and falling as she tried to understand what just happened. "Madam, please," she stammered. "I said out!" Yuna shouted, snatching the cleaning cloth from her hand. "I will not have a liar working under my roof." The other servants kept their heads down. Nobody dared speak. Amara's heart pounded. "I'm sorry if I've done something wrong, ma'am, but please just tell me what I did." Yuna's glare was cold enough to freeze fire. "You think I didn't see you sneaking around my son's room? You've been here 2 weeks, and already trying to—" She stopped mid-sentence. A small voice interrupted. "Mommy?" The room went silent. Everyone turned toward the doorway. Standing there in his pajamas was Unwoo, Yuna's 6-year-old son, clutching a toy robot in one hand. His innocent eyes looked straight at Amara. "Mommy?" he said again, voice trembling. Yuna's face drained of color. Amara froze, every sound fading around her, the ticking clock, the thunder outside, the whispers. For a moment, no one breathed. Then Yuna whispered, low and venomous, "What? Did you just call her?" Yuna's face hardened. "Yunwoo, what did you call her?" The boy's lip trembled. He looked from Amara to his mother. I had a bad dream. She hugged me yesterday. She felt like," he swallowed, "like Mommy." Gasps rippled through the kitchen. Amara's hands lifted, palms open. "Madam, I didn't enter his room without permission. The nanny asked me to settle him when he woke crying. He was burning with fever. I just rocked him." Yuna stepped closer, voice low and sharp. "You're a maid, not family. Do your job and disappear." "Understood," Amara said quietly, "but I never told him to call me that." The head butler, Mr. Park, tried to defuse it. "Madam, the child has been anxious at night since—" "Enough," Yuna snapped to Amara. "Pack your things. Now." Unwoo ran forward, grabbing Amara's apron. "Please don't go." Amara knelt, meeting his eyes. "Sweetheart, I'm not your mommy," she whispered, steady but gentle. "I'm Amara. I'm your friend." He nodded, tears spilling anyway. Security arrived. Yuna pointed to the door. "Out!" Amara rose, took her small suitcase from the staff locker, and walked toward the foyer. As she passed the gallery wall, a large family portrait caught her eye, Mr. Han in a dark suit, expression controlled, Yuna beside him, little Unwoo seated on his knee. Something in the man's jawline tugged at an old ache, a face half remembered from a life she'd buried. She shook it off and kept walking. Rain hammered the steps outside. Mr. Park slipped her a folded envelope. "Your 2 weeks' wages. I'm sorry." Amara bowed. "Thank you." Behind her, Unwoo's cry broke loose. "Amara!" Yuna's command cracked the air. "Close the door." It slammed. Thunder rolled. Amara stepped into the downpour, not knowing that the man in the portrait was the same man who once promised her forever before she was told her baby never took a breath. Amara walked through the storm, clutching her small suitcase to her chest. Each step splashed cold water onto her legs, but she barely felt it. Her mind kept replaying the boy's face, the way he said, "Mommy?" That voice, it sounded exactly like the baby's cry she used to dream about years ago. When she reached the main road, a sleek black car slowed beside her. The window rolled down, and there he was. Mr. Han Min-jun. He looked older now, his once carefree eyes now sharp and unreadable. Still, she recognized him instantly. The man who had loved her and left her without a word. The same man who once promised her the world and told her baby was stillborn. "Amara?" His voice trembled with disbelief. "It's you." Her breath hitched. "Sir, you know me?" He blinked rapidly, searching her face. "You were the new maid?" "Yes," she whispered. lowering her gaze, but your wife threw me out. He exhaled shakily, stepping out into the rain. You shouldn't be walking like this. Get in the car. She shook her head. No need, sir. I'm fine. You're not fine, he said firmly. You're shivering. Their eyes locked, a storm within a storm. Then, without another word, he opened the back door. Amara hesitated, but the rain was relentless. She finally stepped in, clutching her suitcase on her lap. As the car moved off, Minjun glanced at her through the rearview mirror, guilt flickering across his face. He knew now why Eunwoo loves her so much. The drive was silent, except for the steady drumming of rain on the windshield. Amara sat stiffly, staring out the window, her heart racing. Minjun's reflection flickered in the glass, tense, restless, and haunted. Finally, he broke the silence. Amara, that night, 5 years ago, did they ever tell you what really happened? Her eyes glistened. They told me my baby didn't survive. I cried until my body went numb. He gripped the steering wheel. They lied to you. Amara turned sharply. What? How? He swallowed hard. My father, he didn't approve of us, you know. He said your pregnancy would ruin my career and our family's name. The night you gave birth, he took the baby away. He told me you ran off with another man. Her hands trembled. You're lying. The doctor said my child died during birth. I wish I was. His voice cracked. I searched for you. When I couldn't find you, I believed him. I thought you chose to disappear. Tears streamed down her face. So, my baby. Minjun's voice was barely a whisper. Eunwoo is yours, Amara. He's ours. Amara froze, her trembling hands tightening on her apron. You knew? All this time? He nodded slowly, guilt clouding his eyes. I suspected when I first saw you walk into this house. But when he called you Mommy today, I couldn't hide it anymore. Her breath hitched. You let me serve your wife, clean your floors, when you knew? Pain flickered across his face. I thought keeping quiet would protect you. I was wrong. Tears rolled down her cheeks as she whispered, You took everything from me, Minjun, even my child. And your father paid the doctors to lie that my child died? The silence was heavy. Outside, rain drummed against the windows. Finally, he spoke again, his voice breaking. I can't change the past, Amara, but I'll fight for you now. For both of you, he said calmly. The car rolled to a stop in front of the mansion gates. Neither moved. The storm outside was finally fading, but inside them, the real one had just begun. Amara stepped out of the car, her shoes sinking slightly into the wet gravel. The mansion loomed before her like a memory she never wanted back. Minjun followed silently, the tension between them thick enough to choke on. Go inside, he said softly. You shouldn't be out here. She turned to him, eyes red. Why, Minjun? So your wife can throw me out again? He flinched, but didn't answer. The door opened. Mrs. Yuna stood there, arms folded, face tight with fury. So this is what you were doing, she hissed. Sneaking out to meet the help? Amara stiffened, her voice shaking but clear. I was never your help. I was here because your husband begged me to stay. Mrs. Yuna's jaw dropped. What nonsense! She's telling the truth, Minjun interrupted, stepping forward. Amara isn't just a maid. She's the mother of my son. The words hung in the air like thunder. Yuna staggered back, color draining from her face. What did you just say? Eunwoo appeared at the top of the stairs, clutching his toy. Mommy, you are back? He called softly. The house fell silent. Mrs. Yuna's gaze darted between the boy and Amara, realization crashing in like a wave. You knew? She screamed at Minjun. I tried to protect him, he said. Protect him? She spat. Or protect your guilt. Amara gathered Eunwoo into her arms, holding him close. Her voice broke. No one protected me, but I'll protect him, even if it means leaving for good. The next morning, the mansion was colder than ever. Every servant avoided eye contact. Whispers followed Amara wherever she went. She was no longer just the maid. She was the secret no one was supposed to know. From the upstairs balcony, Mrs. Yuna watched her with clenched fists. The memory of Min Jun's confession replayed like poison in her veins. "She took everything from me," she muttered. "My peace, my husband, and even my son's heart." Her assistant hesitated nearby. "Madam, what do you want us to do?" Mrs. Yuna's lips curled into a thin, icy smile. "What I should have done the first day she walked in, make her disappear." Downstairs, Amara was packing quietly. She knew she couldn't stay, not with Mrs. Yuna's eyes burning holes into her back. But when Un-woo ran into her arms, clutching her tightly, her resolve cracked. "Mommy, are you leaving again?" he whispered. Amara froze. I don't know yet, baby." Just then, Min Jun entered. His gaze softened at the sight of them together. "You don't have to go," he said firmly. "This house is as much yours as mine." Mrs. Yuna's voice sliced through the room. "Over my dead body!" She stormed in, fury radiating from her. "You brought shame into this house, Min Jun. She's nothing but a servant." Amara's tears shimmered, but her voice was steady. "A servant gave birth to the son you call yours." For once, Mrs. Yuna had no words, only rage. The room pulsed with silence. Yun-woo clung to Amara's skirt, staring up at his mother and the woman he had always called Mom. Min Jun stepped forward slowly. "Enough, Yuna. This has gone far enough." She spun toward him, eyes wild. "Far enough? You humiliated me in front of everyone. You indirectly hid her and her son under my own roof." Her voice cracked, trembling between heartbreak and fury. "Do you have any idea what people will say?" Min Jun's jaw tightened. "Let them talk. I won't destroy an innocent woman just to protect our image." Mrs. Yuna's breath hitched. For a moment, she looked almost fragile. "You love her, don't you?" The question hung heavy in the air. Amara looked away, trembling. Min Jun didn't answer, but his silence was enough. Mr. Yuna let out a bitter laugh, tears glistening. "Then you both deserve each other." She turned to her assistant. "Get the press on the line. If he wants scandal, I'll give him one." "Madam, please," the assistant began, but Min Jun's tone cut through. "Try it, and I'll end every business contract your family ever benefited from." A deadly calm fell. Mrs. Yuna glared at Amara one last time, her voice low and venomous. "You may have taken my husband's heart, but you'll never have his world." She stormed out, her heels echoing through the hall like war drums. Amara exhaled shakily, clutching Yun-woo close. "She'll never stop, will she?" Min Jun's eyes darkened. "No," he said quietly, "which is why we can't stay here any longer." "Till then, we have to be extremely cautious and careful," he said. The following evening, tension hung over the mansion like fog after rain. Every servant moved as if walking on broken glass. Amara worked silently in the living room, her hands trembling as she folded Un-woo's blanket. She could feel Mrs. Yuna's gaze from the staircase, sharp, unblinking, like a hawk circling prey. But there was someone else watching too. From the far end of the hall, Chairman Park, Min Jun's father, sat quietly in his wheelchair, his sharp eyes narrowing as he studied the young maid. "Who is that girl?" he asked his nurse. "The new maid, sir. Amara." Park's wrinkled hand gripped the armrest tightly. "Amara?" he repeated, voice cracking slightly. A name he hadn't heard in years, a name he thought he had erased. Later that night, Min Jun visited his father's study. "You've been restless," he said gently. Mr. Park turned his chair toward him. "That maid, where did she come from?" Min Jun's jaw tensed. "She's not just a maid, father. She's the woman you destroyed years ago." For a long, heavy moment, silence filled the room. Then Mr. Park's breathing quickened. "What did you say?" Min Jun leaned forward, his voice low and bitter. "You took her baby, father. You lied to us all. And now, that child calls her mommy." Chairman Park's hand shook violently. "No, that's impossible." Min Jun's eyes burned. Your sins came home, father. Outside, lightning flashed, illuminating the trembling old man as the empire he built began to crumble inside his own heart. The next morning, chaos rippled through the Han estate. Lawyers, reporters, and board members swarmed like bees around a burning hive. The secret Min Jun had buried for years was now on every screen in Seoul. Chairman Park, accused of illegal child separation and document forgery. The old man sat in his study, trembling, his empire collapsing with every news broadcast. Amara stood by the door, silent, the woman he had wronged beyond measure. I gave you everything, Mr. Park rasped, eyes hollow. The company, the fortune, the respect of this country. And this is how you repay me? Min Jun's voice was calm, but cold. You gave me everything but truth, father. You stole a child's life. You destroyed hers. Chairman Park's gaze shifted to Amara, shame flickering through his weathered face. I thought I was protecting my son, the board, and the reputation. Reputation? Amara cut in sharply. You left me in the hospital, bleeding and begging for my baby, while your men forged a death certificate. Her words hit like thunder. Even the guards lowered their heads. You ripped my baby from my arms, told me he died, and left me to rot in shame. You will all pay for everything you have all put me through. Mrs. Yuna watched silently, her pride collapsing under the weight of truth. Unwoo clung to Amara's dress, his small eyes wide. Min Jun slammed a file onto the table, the DNA results, the hospital records, the payoff slips. The doctors who helped you have been arrested, he said coldly. And as for you, father, the board has forced your resignation. You'll live with what you've done. The chairman wept openly. I only wanted to protect the family. Min Jun replied bitterly. A family built on lies was never worth protecting. Turning to Amara, he softened. Do you know how Unwoo came back to us? The orphanage traced his medical records. They thought I'd abandoned him, so they sent him home to me. Fate brought him back. Tears streamed down Amara's face. She knelt, hugging her son tightly. Min Jun took her hand. No more lies, no more pain. From now on, we heal. By afternoon, Chairman Park was stripped of all authority. His assets were frozen, and his medical staffs, the same doctors who lied, were taken into custody. As he was wheeled past the grand foyer, he looked up at Amara and whispered, I am sorry, Amara. Amara didn't answer. She only turned away, the past finally buried beneath the weight of his downfall. The moral lesson of this story is, true family is not built by wealth, power, or social status. It's built by love, truth, and the courage to do what's right, even when it costs everything.